Welcome to Neutral Voices. I'm Dr. V, and this is In Depth, where we dig deep in the trenches of what matters. Our topic tonight is love. Love. And more love.
Love.
Y'all like that?
I feel you. Yeah, we feel you.
Yeah, we've been feeling
feel you.
good. Yeah, this is a good topic. When it's something that you live, it's easy, right?
Yes.
It's
yes.
easy to talk about. So, but before we get into it, as always, let's get the definition.
Yes. This is from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. It says, love is a strong affection for one another through kinship or commonalities.
Mm.
Now, I agree with that to a
Kinship
point.
and
Kinship and commonalities. I agree with that to a point. But I think we get confused between the ideal of love and the actions or the thoughts of love.
Mm.
Because think about it. When we talk about it, and this is not the only definition. Every definition I looked at had something about affections or feelings or something
Yes.
connected to it, where love is broader than that. You know,
Yes.
love is deeper than that. But we only hear, see, or talk about that feeling or that connection,
Those emotions.
those
But,
emotions.
you know, and I can't help but think of this one song that's one of my favorite songs. Y'all know it's so many love songs, but the song by Music, Love.
Love.
And when he says so many people use your name in vain. Yeah, I think
Yes.
that is such a powerful song.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I agree with you. We actually want to kind of jump in on where you and E had a discussion the other night, and y'all were kind of going back and forth a little bit.
Yeah, but it was all out of
And
love.
It was
He don't want that smoke tonight.
And
was
you
all
what?
love.
He don't want that smoke tonight.
He don't
It was
want
out
the
of love.
smoke.
He don't
No,
want that
you're not
smoke.
gonna give the smoke tonight because you know we all in love and you got your
It's
love. You
out
got
of
your
love.
love shirt on.
The smoke is out
So,
of love. But he
listen.
don't want that smoke.
It's love
tonight.
smoke.
But let's look at let's just refresh because I need to be reminded of what you guys kind of talked about in E. You were all in love that night, and we want to watch that video, that little clip, if we can.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. It seems to have impact. It's based on my perspectives in life. For 35 years of ministering and counseling people, I have never met a man who beat his wife and liked himself. Never.
Love is more than just, you know, these affections and these feelings. There's
Yes.
different types of love. There's
Yeah.
different aspects of love. Love comes in different forms, in different fashions, and it's personal to you. So what I say is love, you might not think
Right.
is love.
May not.
Right.
So let's just find out. This is real quick. Temperature check. Jill, when you think about it, as they get our video ready, when you think about love, how do you define it?
If I had to pick one word, I would
Mhm.
just say unconditional. The word unconditional.
Unconditional.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What about you, E?
Peaceful.
Mhm.
Okay, peaceful. Yes, and I would say faithful.
I would say
So if
genuine.
we were gonna do genuine.
Genuine.
Yes.
You know, and that's what I think we're missing, the genuine love.
Of course, yours have to be the right one.
No,
the
I
one
don't
that's
think it's the
missing
right
out of
one.
all the things we say.
We are saying the right.
Anyway,
I'm
just because
saying-
we in love with
And I'm gonna tell you why I think the genuine the one is missing when we get into this conversation. I don't have to be right. I just am.
you gotta love
See,
them.
there you go with that, man.
It's okay. It's all right. But I respect that.
Yeah,
and
I'm
as
just
you
having
say,
fun.
there's so many things to it. I do want to get into some of those things. You said there's so many different types,
Yes,
and we
yes.
do understand that there's 7 types,
7
according
types
to
of
the
love,
Greeks.
yes.
So we can't take credit for this, but
No.
according to the Greeks, there are 7 types
Yes.
of love.
Yes.
And some of them we are more familiar with than others.
Yes.
And so let's just kind of make sure, because I don't want to miss any of these. And so the one I know most people understand is platonic.
Yes.
We are comfortable and we understand that.
Yes.
This other one though, when they call it familia, that's family, but I've never heard that storage word. I've never
Yes.
heard it from that perspective, but that's the Greek. And Jill, you just spoke about unconditional, which is agape, and
Agape.
we've heard that several times. But what about this enduring love? Let's talk about that. What does that look like? Enduring love.
Enduring love.
So
What
you
does
don't
love
hear
look like?
that.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of the first couple, like the familiar love and the, the family love, and it just stays with you. I don't really think if you really love, and I'm not saying be in love with the person, if you
Right.
really love a person, you might have difference of opinions and you might have different ways. Y'all might even fall out at one point in time.
Right.
But if it came down to it
Yeah.
and they needed you, if
Yeah.
you really had the same love for that person, that's that enduring love. You'll get past those
Right.
barriers or whatever it is,
Yes.
and you'll do what you need to do.
This is what I was thinking. Endurance.
Yep.
So that is the word that I'm looking at. And when you endure and think about, it says that the race is given to the one that endures
Yes, not
to
too
the
swift.
end. So endurance matters even in your love relationships.
Right.
Yes.
You
Right.
have to be able to endure.
And I think of that too, like you said, I feel like that kind of love is a love that a person would have for me personally, for their child. So if you feel like you're in love with a man or I'm in love with a man, I've been in love before and then not been in love with that particular gentleman. That's never going to happen with my daughter,
yes.
because that to me is a love that's enduring.
That
endurance.
is-
Mhm.
She sounded like Christopher
exactly.
Williams. I've been in love before, but it'll let me
I was going to
down.
go there, Clarence, but your shirt has already stole the show tonight, so my voice is not going to do anything.
And
That's
if
the
you
anus in
haven't
the body.
loved, if
Yeah.
you haven't loved, then you haven't lived.
Haven't loved and lost.
No, that's right. So, and then the other one, passionate
Yes.
love,
And I think
eros.
Yes, and I think
Yes.
that's what we get most of, because think about it. A lot of people, and I think E and I was talking about this on Valentine's Day, and we were joking, and even in marriages and relationships, people get to the point that if you are not up on them, if you're not, touching
that
them or feeling-
affection
yeah,
and touching.
you always, all up on them, and they don't think you love them. And we were talking about fences, how Denzel broke down love. My love doesn't have to come with attachment.
Just so brutal.
It
wasn't brutal.
wasn't
It was
brutal.
I'm just saying, my heart was aching when
Yeah.
you said that to the
But-
son, but I understood
it's
it.
real.
I
Yeah,
understood
it
that.
doesn't have to come with that attachment to
Yes.
show that I love you. I can do other things. That just because I don't give you that attachment
That's
does
right.
not mean I don't love you. But I think that's where we all, like I say, even in the definitions, it's always about that feeling, that attachment, that emotional, that other part. That's where we're conditioned right now.
Yeah.
Well, and the
that's right.
expectation too. I mean, the expectation that you put as far as love and how you want to be loved.
That's so true.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, how about this other one? Self-love.
That's the
I think
best
that's
one.
the hardest one.
That's the best one.
I think it's the hardest one.
Self-love.
No,
He
it
said the
should-
hardest,
I think
the
so.
best.
It shouldn't be the hardest love.
It shouldn't, but I think it is a lot
Because
of
my
times.
question is this: how can you love somebody else if you don't love yourself first?
And I think that's a
But
lot
you-
of the problem.
You know what? Now, I'm going to just tell you, this Greek word is fellatio, and people
That's
kind of,
not that word.
I'm just getting ready
That's a
to
whole
say,
nother
I'm
word.
getting ready to tell you that.
Okay.
Boy,
I'm getting ready to
Um,
say it.
Okay.
But
Lord,
listen, I
thank
just
you,
want
Clarence.
you.
Thank
Okay,
you,
but
Clarence.
isn't that? This is the reason I'm bringing up the word.
Okay.
Do you think people looked at this and that's where they really
they may have
spent
gotten-
off of it?
they may have.
Because it's self-love.
Yes.
It is a different form of self-love.
Yes, I got you where you're
So
going with that.
you see what I mean?
Yes.
So when you look at it, they looked at it, did they immediately come
Yes,
up with
yes.
that word? And that's how it has been used. So the truth is, it's actually a different word. And how do you want to attempt to say it?
No, I don't want to not after you.
Philotia? Is it philotia?
Jill had it. Go ahead, Jill. You
But
did it yesterday. No, Jill had it.
I think that's where they got it from.
And it may be.
So
It may
now
be.
let's hear, Jill, you say it.
Philistia, I think.
See?
Philish-
That's what I think.
Okay.
Why don't you just
And
ask
we
Google
don't
to
know.
say it?
Ask Google.
Yeah,
E,
ask
do
Siri.
we want you to attempt
No.
to say it?
But
Y'all butchered it.
yeah.
I'm
Okay.
just saying, y'all butchered it.
I'm just
I ain't gonna
loving.
touch
I'm
it
just
because,
loving.
because it just
It's all
says-
right. Love is in the air.
Love is in the air.
It's in the air.
Not that one. No,
Yeah.
no.
So,
But
but I wanted to mention that because that is a different form of self-love. We are all adults.
Yeah, but
and
no,
it
I
happens.
wanted to say when E was saying why would it be the hardest? The self-love is the hardest because
Mm.
you have to deal and look at a lot of people. That's why a lot of people are not happy with themselves. That's why they try to find
Yeah.
this other form of love in other places. They find different forms. Like I say, it's got to be the physical love. You got to be touching me. You got to be doing something for me. You got to buy me stuff.
And we going and you.
But
I don't like
when-
how you frowning up when you talking about it, but we're gonna talk about that a little bit more. But just these different loves, I just want to let y'all know, because I remember at one point we were talking about different emotions. All of these different loves are different emotions,
Right.
And so you're an emotional type guy.
But
E and Clarence, I mean, you
Not
guys
really.
are, but
you said it has to be, people look outside, they get their self-love, their love from others. That's why they don't love themselves.
I say a lot of times, yes.
But see, I mean, I'll look at it as the fact that I get what you're saying, and I kind of agree with you. But in order to love somebody else, and if a person that don't have self-love, can't nobody love them. Because the simple fact, how can I love something that doesn't love themselves?
I don't know. I don't agree with that.
I can't
I understand where
love
you're
you
going,
if
but
you don't
I'm
love
saying,
yourself.
you know how many people are in a state of mind where they're ready to give up because they don't love themselves, and you still love them.
but
Either
no, I'm
way,
talking
watch the
about,
movie Exorcist.
You can't. I mean, when I say
I hate to bring that one up, but that young
I'm
lady
not
was
saying it
possessed.
like that. I'm saying it. You still love them as far
Okay,
as, but I'm not
okay.
saying I can't fall in love with someone that doesn't
Okay.
love themselves.
Okay, I got
Off
you.
the gate.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, why would I treat you better than you treat
I
yourself?
got you.
So
I
I,
understand
mean,
what-
it's just one of those things. If you
Yeah.
can't love yourself,
Yeah, I got
mean,
you.
You have to honestly, for self-love, you have to check yourself.
Mhm.
And most
Yeah.
people, I mean, I know a lot of people don't check themselves, but you have to look at that man, that woman, or that child in the mirror.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to, everybody thought it was funny when my man was talking about self-esteem.
hmm
You have to talk to yourself.
Yeah.
And some people like, I talk to, I even answer myself. We have
Yeah.
great conversations.
Yeah.
That let me know that I'm comfortable with checking myself at the
Yeah,
door.
and it's
You
okay
have to
to
love yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna say part of that it would be affirmations, which is talking out loud to yourself sometimes. So that could
Well,
could
I
fit.
think too that when a person in a relationship type setting, if a person doesn't love themselves, that means there are things about themselves that normally they don't like. So they will take that into every relationship, every friendship, every kinship, any kind of ship to try to pull those things or project those things onto their partner. So I
Mhm.
absolutely agree that
Yeah.
you are not going to have a successful relationship if you are trying to teach someone how to love you and you don't even love you.
That's right.
You can't teach
So
yourself.
yeah, so the other one, the last one, and then we're gonna move on. Playful love, and I wanted to make sure we touch on this because we do this one a lot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even here, and that's called Ludas. And
Ludacris.
I knew y'all was gonna say that. I was like, Luda. Yeah, but anyway, so that's one that you see a lot, quite a bit with
That
I'll
shirt.
say with what both sexes, and you kind of play, but that's the one that can get you in trouble
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
that shirt.
it could be looked at as flirting and or what is this? See, that's why we're not gonna show y'all video because you won't act right.
You don't even know what we.
but the playfulness and it's just keeping it real. Sometimes it can get you in trouble because it can be taken as a little bit
Right.
flirtatious, and so you have to be careful with that. You start touching and whatever opposite sex. Got to be careful, especially in the
Yeah.
workplace.
Well, and that's natural, yeah, because nobody wants to be Me Too right now. Because
That's why I'm saying you have
But-
to be careful with that.
Excuse me.
Oh, that's okay. I got you covered. So while we get a couple other things together, I just want to mention to you guys a lot of what we're talking about. Think about when the Bible. I mean, you can't really discuss love without talking about the Bible, because when you think about the 10 Commandments, the first 2 commandments, and think command. God commanded you to love, and if God commanded you to love, that means you are built
You built.
to love.
Yes.
That's right. It doesn't say he commanded you to hate.
No.
And so, yeah. And so what the first commandment, love thy God. Let's do a Bible trivia. Do y'all know it?
Love thy God with all your heart,
All your heart,
all your mind,
mind,
your strength.
and strength. And it'll pull the tears out of you, Clarence. I understand. And then what was the second one? The second one is to love thy neighbor as yourself. And sometimes that is very hard to do. But now in the Bible, think about it. The question was asked. Who asked the question?
Who's your neighbor?
Who is
Your neighbor.
your neighbor? And your neighbor could be anywhere. And think about, and we can go into the Good Samaritan story. And a lot of times when you look at that and you start thinking the religion person, that's my neighbor, that's my family, those are the ones that's going to come for me when I'm in need. When you have a GoFundMe page, you think that certain people going to save you because they say they love you and they don't. For real. I'm just saying, a lot of times you're in a position and you feel like that particular person just might step in to save you. But the truth is, with that story, if you know the story of the Good Samaritan, the religion people passed by. And a lot of times the people that you think will help you will pass you by. Yes. And so some of the other ones, we have a video I would love to watch right now if we have that. We're giving you a little bit of a teaser when we talk about Eric and Clarence conversation. So you have to go on YouTube and subscribe and watch that. And then you'll get more of that video. But we have another video we want to watch right now. TD Jakes.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. It seems to have impact. It's based on my perspectives in life. For 35 years of ministering and counseling people, I have never met a man who beat his wife and liked himself. Never. In 30-some years. The Bible says love her as your own body. But if you don't love you, then it's easier to beat her because you're really angry and guilty about you. And so if you're going to break through the bondage, you have to learn how to love yourself, because people who love themselves are much easier to love and easier to be around than people who don't like them. Oh, I don't have time to get lost in that. That's not my point. It's just on. You understand what I'm saying? When you feel good about you, whatever. See, come here for a minute. Come here for a minute. Come here. Come on in. Come in. Come in. Now, whatever's going on with me, whatever cologne I got on, whether I'm sweaty, whatever's happening with me, when you came into my circle, you got drawn into it. If I'm swinging, you got drawn into a punch. If I'm loving, you got drawn into love. Whatever's up with me, when you come into my circle, you become connected to it. So if I was crazy before you walked up here, you understand what I'm saying? Now, if I am a self-hater, guilty, complex, insecurity, and you come up and get connected in that, and now you are my body, the fight that I was having with me, I now get to have on you.
Well.
Yeah. On that right there, I like what he said. Sometimes, and this is why I say we get too connected to the emotional and the physical love, and we don't understand what love is. Sometimes love is absolutely the right thing to do. He said, if I pull you in my circle, you get involved in my circle. So that means everything that's going on with me, that means you're going to get involved. Sometimes that's love.
That's right.
To get involved with somebody else, it doesn't have to be relationship. It could be your cousin on drugs or alcohol.
Absolutely.
It could be a homeless person that you don't even know, but you see on the street hungry. You feed them. You pull them in that circle. But then the counter side of that is we confuse love that if you're not around me when I'm in this, then you don't love me.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't need to be in the way of your mess, as he was saying. My best thing is to stand aside until it subsides, and then I can love you and help you and bring you back. The bringing back is the most love. But the thing I want to say, I've talked to this older gentleman, and sometimes love is the least that you can do, but it's the biggest thing you can do. He told me he never drank, he never gambled, he never smoked, he never did a whole lot of things because he didn't want to do things to make his mother cry. You know, because he said those things led to trouble. So he tried his best to stay out of trouble. Now that's love. When you just don't want to hurt somebody, and that's where we got to be. We got to be at that point of love where it's not all about what you want. Give you. Yeah.
So it's almost it's almost like sacrifice.
I'm gonna agree and disagree with you.
Okay.
On the first part, I'm gonna disagree with. I might need you in that circle when I'm going through. You see what I'm saying?
I agree. I said sometimes, but I agree.
I might need you in that circle. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes I need that. And when I say need you in that circle, it's not, I need to put it like this. My mentor, he knew when just to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just that conversation and me talking my thoughts out, I answer my own questions.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And just having that person just to listen and say and tell you to rewind what you just said. So sometimes I would say majority of times when you're going through, you need that person or that people or some of them people in that circle so you could bounce your thought process off of. So I mean, I kind of agree with you. You not to have I might need you. I might grab you into that circle purposely. You might it might be a reason you need to be in that circle.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you mentioned the word need with that. And I love that video with TD Jakes. That's actually powerful. But when you talk about the need, love is a need. When you, a lot of times, and people don't really look at it like this, but think about a drug addict. Love could be something that people are addicted to. And then when it's taken away, when people have to go through loss or divorce, that's how come it's almost like they're going through a withdrawal from drugs. It's also one of those things they try to get that feeling of like a drug addict, that first hit, that feeling that they got. People in love have that same thing when those different chemicals are being released from their brains. So love is a need. Love actually has a whole lot of benefits, and I can see you want to say
It goes
something.
back
or
to
add
my
to
question I asked Mr. Clarence
Mhm.
last week.
That.
Is love a mental defect now?
Okay.
I didn't.
Is when you say is love,
Love is a
Okay.
mental defect.
No, love. Love is not a mental defect.
If it goes through the same thing as like a drug addict or for the same endorphins, I'm just asking a question.
Mhm.
What she just described,
Right.
that is a mental defect.
Right.
Is
you
that
saying
not-
to love when you're in love, it's a
No,
mental
what you
defect.
just
Yeah, that's
the lack
that's
of,
what you
or
just
the-
said. That's
Yeah,
what you
just
just said.
said.
The difference is love is not a mental defect. Sometimes being in love can cause mental defects because when you in love, that
Okay.
means that you lose sometimes. You lose the sense. If you ever listen to somebody sometimes that it's a difference between love and being in love.
Yeah,
That's like
uh-huh.
being sober and drunk. There's
Yeah.
a difference. So when you're in something,
Mhm.
that means you're intoxicated. You're filled up with it. It is what it is. So the reaction comes from the act, not of the. Well, it comes from the reaction comes from the outside, the things that are outside of you.
the actions of love.
No, the stimulants and the
Okay.
stimulation
okay,
of love.
Okay.
So it's that act of love where when you're not around me anymore. Oh, I can't.
I can't eat.
Yeah, I can't eat.
I can't sleep. I can't
yeah,
do
that
anything.
would make love a mental defect.
No, being in love can cause the mental
We
defect. It's a difference.
Uh-huh.
Love and in love
Y'all
is two
gonna
different things.
I'm just
handle
saying.
that on the EMC show.
No, we're not gonna handle
that'll
that.
be part
We are
two,
talking about
part
love,
three.
so we gonna.
Yeah, I'm just saying because y'all know y'all will go back and forth.
No,
and-
I'm just asking a question, but like I said,
Yeah.
we're gonna handle it. We talking
Yeah.
about love, so that's
Exact-
part of love.
Yeah, and you know what? That mentions brings up this war.
Mhm.
Is there a war going on right now between love and hate?
For
y'all
sure.
think?
For
Absolutely.
all those that try
Absolutely.
to do good, there's evil always around.
I was
Right.
going to say absolutely,
Yeah,
and so
so-
you see that a lot, and especially when we start thinking about the media and how the media exploit certain things and twist certain things.
I got a heavy question, and this is gonna be real heavy. And I don't know if y'all can answer it, but
Can we handle it?
do y'all think mainstream media changed the narrative of love?
Always,
Absolutely.
always.
I think I was going to say I'm thinking you got a place you're going in particular,
Okay,
or
keep going.
Okay.
Jill.
So when you say that, the first thing that comes to my mind is I'm just going to say social media. So social media has made us feel as I can only speak for a woman and the women that I speak to, but they often have unrealistic expectations when it comes to love, or like you were saying earlier, showing somebody off, as in posting someone. So all of these things that are new with social media that make us feel, or make women feel like we need to be out shown to the world, or we're not important. Or if he doesn't take a photo of us, we're not important. If he doesn't post us, we're not important. So
Right.
it's like this delusion of something that never existed prior to social media. So that's what comes to mind to me, that it's almost like demented.
That's right. Yeah.
Somebody else?
Yes, the media, the corporations, and all of that. And I say this: if you don't get your kid a certain toy at Christmas, your kid doesn't feel like you love them. If you're not buying your significant other a diamond at Valentine's Day, they say you don't love them. If you're not paying your lady's bills, that's
Oh, my.
just like, if you're not paying her bills, you don't love her. No, I'm just saying these are modern day things, and these
attached.
are people that attach. So I think that's why I said, are we talking about the idea of love? Or are we actually talking about the whole concept of love? And I think we get more in the idea than we do in the concept.
Right. And when you say that, you bring me to, I got this down here on this paper. I wasn't going to talk about it, but sugar mamas and sugar daddies.
Mm-hmm.
Because a
Really
lot
want.
of times in those relationships, if that one person is not spending money and paying the
Yeah.
bills and rent, etc., then that
Yeah.
other
Do
person
you
don't
think
feel like they're loved.
You said something in your last one, and this is true because if you think about The Color Purple,
Mm-hmm.
and it brought mine to when you were talking about people use love as a weapon. When Celie told
Mister?
Harpo, when he said, if you love her, beat her,
Yes.
beat her.
Mhm.
and
Because that's what she knew.
Yeah, because that's what that's
That's
not
what she
love.
was. Yeah, that's not love.
So that's why I
Right.
say we get with the concept, we get with the idea, and everybody has their own idea, their own purpose or whatever for love, but we don't really work on the concept. And love is just a simple thing, but it's complex.
Okay, so
Okay,
let me
I-
ask. Okay.
I'm finna go another route with
Uh,
this.
oh,
Oh,
and-
I'm finna go way left field, right?
don't go too
Oh,
far.
I'm going all the way left.
Okay.
Don't even worry about it.
Don't worry about the time. We won't worry about the time. This is Mutual Voices.
The changing of the narrative of love. Let's look at it from this aspect. Look at it from the aspect of marriage.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. What's normal marriage? Man and woman.
Yes.
Okay.
Nowadays, media is transforming love and making the man and the man normal, the woman and the woman normal. And if you ever sit and watch the commercials
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and even TV shows, how often do you see a man and a woman in love or in marriage?
It's becoming a rarity.
So one of the biggest things and is destroying our kids' mind at this point where they think it's normal for a man and a man
To
or
have
one,
that eros type of love.
yes, and a woman and a woman to
Passionate.
have that kind of love where the nature of it is actually a man and a woman. It states this in the Bible. So hey, if you got an attitude with me, oh well, I don't care.
And that goes back to what I was saying, that is the idea. That is what we see. That is what they're telling us love is.
Correct.
That is the idea. But that's not the concept of love.
But let's look at here. I want you to go somewhere else with that. So
Uh-oh.
I want you to illustrate Adam Eve. I want you to illustrate this for us so we have a better understanding.
Okay. What you want me to illustrate?
Why don't you illustrate what the serpent is? You know where I'm thinking.
Oh, what we was talking about
Yes,
earlier.
that was the
The
perfect
serpent-
illustration.
Yeah, the serpent was, is media, and and is feeding you this wrong train of thought,
Mm-hmm.
and we are
And the
eating
illusion.
it. We are eating this apple of wrong thoughts,
Yeah.
of wrong processes. And, the process is so bad where, it's just like when Adam. I think all of us would hide if Jesus would come right now. If Christ would come right now, I think all of us would jump. We were like, I'm gone. I got to go somewhere he can't see. I got to go somewhere he can't find me. Because in simple fact, we all have bitten off this apple and we are seeing things that we're not and doing things that we're not supposed to do. And the mainstream media is key with this, the mindset of what is love.
Okay.
And instead of us really, like Clarence said, understanding what is love, what the definition of love, not the Western definition of love, but the true definition of love.
Right. And yeah, there's so many components to love. And I know we could continue and continue because of love being an action word. There's so many other areas we can go into. But
Love is a noun, but okay.
I'm just saying, but you know, to me, when we start talking about love, it's something that you can see. It's something that people can do. And so and it's just so many different angles we could go into. I did want to talk about some fun facts about love, but we can actually save that for tomorrow, if that's all right with you.
That's fine.
So, Voice of the People, tomorrow. Listen, before we get out of here, we have some things we want to remind you of that's from the good book, and that is the book of love. There's no other book in the Bible like Corinthians, and Corinthians is full of love. You want to read something?
Sure. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. That's powerful.
That's powerful.
That's powerful.
Yeah. This is Neutral Voices. And as we always say, protect your mind. And I'm going to add another one. Protect your heart and protect your love. Good night.